And just wait there. All right. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Will. Okay. Let me get mine up here. I would like to have a motion to reconvene in an open session.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Andrew, aye. Susan Manning,
Aye.
Susan Fox,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Elizabeth.
Aye.
We're in open session. Has there been, I see that there's no public appearance.
Nope.
All right, thank you. Moving on to consent agenda.
I would move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Andrew, aye. Eric,
Aye.
Susan Fox,
Aye.
Susan Manning,
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carries. Next is recognition.
Okay, thank you. We are ready and excited to welcome students back to the 2021-22 school year. We just wrapped up our day 2 of our new teacher orientation. Teachers will report back on Friday for professional work days before students return. Our construction and renovations are getting finalized, and finishing touches are happening now. We have also received the final approval from the Department of Energy and Wisconsin PSC for the Monona Grove High School solar project. After a slight delay, we are thrilled to get this important project underway. And with a handful of new administrators or administrators in new positions, we put together some video introductions for our families and community. So we have videos from Ms. Wright at Cottage Grove School, Ms. Foster at Taylor Prairie, Mr. Starr at Winnequa, Mr. Schneider at Monona Grove High School, and Mr. McGrath at Monona Grove High School. And they will be featured on our district Facebook page starting tonight and throughout the coming days. And in your notes, you have a link to that site. And lastly, we're excited that our new track and athletic field are complete, and we actually will have our first official varsity competition tomorrow night. Varsity football, we host La Follette, and really looking forward to it being utilized on a regular basis. So we do have, we just received a nice time-lapse video of the construction. And if it's okay, I'd like to just take a few moments to play that. It was just got posted today, and I think you'll find it, I think it speaks for itself.
Very nice.
Someone should put music to it.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
And the
Oh, that was
concession,
really nice.
Yeah, that was,
yeah,
looks great. Yeah.
the concession
Yeah.
stand still look nice too.
Yeah, it's been so nice on these projects to have those drone videos and for pictures and so yeah, it never gets old for me to watch it.
Yeah.
So really excited now. The most important thing, of course, is our students being able to utilize it, and they have been in practice, up to this point for the last couple of weeks. So pretty exciting here in the time to come.
That's
All
great.
right. Okay. We're doing a little recognition. I just wanted to recognize I'm not going to be able to name everyone, but for all the coaches that coached volunteer out in Monona and in Cottage Grove and coaching as we speak now for little peewee and tackle football. I just wanted to shout out to those parents that put their kids in all of these sports and things over the summer, and all the coaches volunteered to get our kids out and participate. And I just wanted to thank them for myself and hopefully for the rest of the board, thanking all of those volunteer parents that coached all of these kids and still doing it. They never get no recognition. We always recognize all of our paid staff, but all of those volunteer coaches that are working out there in Monona and Cottage Grove with our kids, I just wanted to recognize them.
Well, and Andrew, I really appreciate you doing that because you're right. Our middle son drove from work, Quad Graphics in Sussex, every afternoon in the winter during hockey season to assist as a volunteer coach on the hockey team, and then drove back every night. So we know that people are doing this kind of thing for our school community and in a million different ways, whether it's tutoring or extracurriculars or working with the kids.
Yep.
A big thanks. I think you're right on. Thank you.
Thank you. So I need to see you guys at the football game tomorrow. Okay, moving along.
What time does that start?
Game is kickoff at 7.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to announcements. I don't see any announcements. So I'll move to administrative reports. Dan?
Okay, so just since the last time we met 2 weeks ago with regard to the reopening, the biggest thing that we've been working on, with regard to the operations plan is our contact tracing and school action plans and working really with public health management in Dane County on those updates. And so I did put a couple attachments of some documents that they've put together. We've had a number of trainings with our health services team, and we're ready to go. So some slightly different protocols than a year ago. And so let me just pause and see if any of you have any questions about the reopening and operating plan and as it relates to COVID preparation.
Susan Fox?
Actually, the only question I have is kind of follow up on a couple of us raised at the last board meeting whether we might consider a vaccine mandate for our staff at some point. And now that the Pfizer has been officially totally approved by the FDA, and Moderna is submitting their paperwork today, I think, or tomorrow. Then I know Madison's at least got it on there. They're going to talk about it next week. I'd like to at least have it on the agenda for a discussion to find out pros and cons, like what concerns there are. And I guess, maybe even if it's appropriate to know a percentage of where, if we know where we are. It just seems like now that more and more places are doing, just to now, and this is different since the last meeting, now to attend a performance at Overture or at the Sylvie or at the Orpheum and to go to some restaurants, you need to show proof of vaccination or a test. And that's varying. I think the test, is still true at Overture. I don't know if they're all doing the test as well. But, I think because it's becoming more common in big venues like that, and we're talking about buildings with kids where our youngest kids still can't get vaccinated and likely won't be able to till well into the fall. I just think we should give it serious consideration. So I'd like to talk about it.
No, thank you. And I'll be glad to make sure we add that to our next agenda for discussion. So I think I might have stated at the last meeting, that we'd had some preliminary discussions about that. And we're continuing to have those discussions about, as you stated, Susan, there's a lot of things to consider with regard to that. But I think as we move into the opening, that is the logical next step about what happens as this order expires, will the masking continue, and the vaccination status is a huge piece. I do know that our neighboring school districts are having similar conversations, and that is on our agenda for Friday's meeting. Again, to kind of share, not that we need to do what other districts are doing, but to share with each other. What have we learned? What are the pros and cons as you've mentioned? And so I think it'd be very timely to have that discussion in 2 weeks at our next regular meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any more questions and concerns? All right.
Hey, Andrew, just a quick
Yeah,
question.
go ahead, Alyssa.
Do we have a school testing program? Like last year, we had some testing that happened on site sometimes. Is that still happening this year on an as-needed basis?
So yes, it will look a little bit different. Krista's leading the coordination of that. And so that wasn't something that was made available to all public schools in Wisconsin. And we did sign up to participate. We thought at the very least, until we learn more about what it might look like, we want to keep our options open. So Krista, is there anything you can share on that tonight?
Just that we had the meeting with our partner and we're in the process of sharing information and talking through the process and pros and cons, different ways of getting consent. Essentially, we spent the majority of our time talking about testing of symptomatic individuals. And really, it's just an opportunity to increase options for our families seeking access to a test. And we've got local partners we can refer folks to. And this is just some additional options for us to take advantage of and to make it as convenient as possible for anyone who needs to get a test in order to keep our schools open and to keep kids safe, especially those who are symptomatic, potential close contacts. As Dan was mentioning, the process is a little different for contact tracing. We've got more options, so that PCR test to return to school. Again, another option in our continuum of options for making sure that families have access to timely and adequate testing. So probably more to come on this. We'll talk more as we get into the school year. And it's a flexible partnership that can adapt, if we were to determine we have additional needs or some things unique to our community. But at this point, we're working on some training with Fitchburg Pharmacy and getting some protocols in place for just testing. Our staff are, able and willing to do some testing there. We've got several options available to us. So we're in the process of talking through all of those and making sure we've got some plans, because just to add one more thing, because we did some testing in the spring with the BNAX testing, the rapid testing, but we also, I don't remember if we talked with the board about, we did get some PCR tests for summer school and had some training with our health staff. So they've already been through some training process, are familiar with COVID Connect, some of those pieces. We didn't end up having to get a lot of experience with that through summer school, which is great news, but our staff are feeling pretty confident and trained. And so it's great to be on board and have this option too.
Great, thanks, Krista. And I think you already mentioned Fitchburg Pharmacy in terms of partnerships, but any other partnerships that we're establishing around this, or is it mostly Fitchburg Pharmacy?
Well, I should say that's our assigned partner. That's who we were assigned with, and we we're in the process on our long to-do list of adding to and updating our local list for families. We've been referring families, like just using sort of the DHS mapping tool, but so many more folks have gotten on board in Monona and in Cottage Grove and just in the area that are offering PCR testing and offering testing now, that we're trying to get a more narrow list for our families too, so that right away you've got options available.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Was there any more? Anything else on here, Dan? Is that it?
Yep. So the only other thing I added, and this is nothing new, but I did just put the orientation schedule for our new teacher orientation. And thank you. A number of you are able to join us lunch and visit with some of our new staff. on Tuesday, yesterday, right? Tuesday. And,
Yeah.
but like I said, I just added that for your review as well.
Yeah, they ran out when I got there. So go ahead, Susan, Manny.
And Dan, I just wanted to add, because I wanted to make sure you got the feedback. Katie was sitting at the table, so I'm not talking about something that didn't happen, but I happened to be sitting with our new business education instructor, and she said, it's so nice to see board members here and to meet the board members, because she actually watched board meetings before she made her application for teaching in this district. And she said, remember Andrew, she said,
Yep.
you are all very respectful and you run a very good meeting. And I tried
Yeah.
not to laugh out loud, but I was really impressed that she had watched, and that was a part
Yeah.
of what was important to her as a new teacher in this district, and she's really excited to be here.
Yeah.
So and they thought the orientation was great.
She just missed the meeting when Eric had me in a headlock. All right, moving on.
Or vice
All
versa,
right.
or the other way around.
I'm not sure how that went.
It was all a blur. It's hard to
Yeah.
know what the real facts of the case were.
Oh, okay. We'll move on to board reports. Personnel committee, Susan Fox.
Okay, the Personnel Committee met on this past Monday, August 23rd, and we unanimously approved the proposed 2021-22 non-representative support staff compensation plan that's on our agenda tonight, item L3. And we also had discussion and approved the same type of plan for this next year for the administrator's compensation plan with some modifications, some of which we discussed tonight in closed session again, and is reflected for possible action tonight in items L4, 5, and 6. And that was pretty much it. And our next job will be to meet with represented staff at some point, probably in later September. The MGA is interested in waiting until they get the school year started before we start having that conversation. So that was it.
Okay. Thank you, Susan. Policy committee, Susan Manning.
Yes, the policy committee met, and many thanks to Susan and Elizabeth for being there, and the staff that also came. On the 16th of August, we discussed policies related to the SRO MOU, because we wanted to be very clear as a committee kind of what our ability and direction would be in relation to policies and how they would interface with the MOU. And Dan actually had legal counsel there, and that was very helpful. And so I think going forward, we're going to have a good feel for what our parameters are and how to work through that. We ended up spending almost an hour and a half discussing kind of the policy related issues to the MOU and the policies that were directly related to the SRO position that Dan had posted for us. So the discussion on the equity policy was deferred. So on August 24th, our discussion was focused on the equity policy, and we had administrative staff with us that day, and that was incredibly helpful to have those individuals with us. Our core piece that we're working off of is a statement that actually came from the Teaching, Learning, and Equity Committee, and then the draft policy came from a very strong involved administrative team who also took it back to their buildings for discussion and review. We reviewed it in great depth and reviewed other district samples, and had a few questions that are going back to administration, and then we'll be bringing that forward to the board for first read and discussion in September. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan Manning. Just a quick add, I totally forgot about this, and I told Lorene about, but I didn't get it on here. The Policy and Resolutions Committee for WASPI we are looking for resolutions due by September 15th. So Susan Fox, I know you usually see any types of resolutions, and it usually comes to the board after that date, and we'll look at it and see what you want me to vote on at the WASB convention coming up in January. So you can go to wasp.org and go to see what resolutions are out there currently. But the deadline is going to be September 15th if any other resolutions across the state are going to get submitted.
Yeah, and that September 15th date is if our board would want to submit something, in which case we would have to have that proposed by our next meeting at the 8th. So, because it would have to be voted on by the board if we were going to submit one. I don't have any ideas right off the top of my head.
Right.
Yeah, we have done some in the past on occasion, but
Right.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Yeah, it's worth everybody taking a look at that. And
then
after that, the Policy and Resolutions Committee meets and they come up with the final recommendations for a little bit later.
Right. And then when those are out posted after the 15th, we can all go on and look and see, and you can let me know what you want me to vote yay and nay on for January.
Right.
All right. Okay, possible action items. Let me put this up here. So resolution awarding the sale of 1,080,000 general obligation school facility improvement bond series 2021B and rescinding the resolution establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed 1,205,000 general obligation school facility improvement bonds series 2021B adopted on April 14th, 2021.
Yep, so this borrowing is specifically related to our solar project at the high school. And as you are aware from Peter reporting out at a previous board meeting, we finally have all of our final approvals from the Wisconsin PSC and the Department of Energy to be able to move forward with this great opportunity for us, in addition to being able to tap into $300,000 worth of grants. So this resolution is actually awarding the sale that we did today. We had 3 bidders, and we were able to lock an interest rate of 1.54%. And so how that sort of pans out compared to what we were estimating, it's about a $25,000 savings from what we were anticipating when we were working through the process of trying to estimate what the interest rates would look like. The reason that the other portion of the resolution reads that we need to rescind the parameters is because back in April, when we were moving forward and we learned that we were awarded the grants, we established a resolution that gave the district, myself and Dan, the opportunity to go and sell the bonds. However, since it was delayed and we had the opportunity to actually go through a formal sale process and have the board actually do the approval, it's a little bit more transparent for our public as well. So that's what we decided to do. And so that's what the motion is to actually approve the actual borrowing of the $1,080,000 for the solar project at the interest rate of 1.54%.
Susan Fox?
I just have a related question. Is there any concern about the timing now that we're starting so late in terms of the grant? I mean, are they?
So how the grant works is we have 12 months from the time that the Wisconsin PSC issues us our contract. And so since it was delayed, our 12-month period doesn't start until they give us final approval.
Okay.
What that does do, though, it does require us to do a majority of the project during the school year. So there's going to be a little extra noise, and we have to work through some scheduling challenges because we will have students in the building, and obviously we don't want to be disruptive to the education process. In addition to that, COVID is obviously continuing to be present, and as we work through our construction projects and not really saw much delays in the supply chain, we will experience a little delay in our supply chain. So for example, this fall, we will end up doing a lot of the framework because our solar panels are going to be delayed until this spring to be put on. The other part of it is that we don't want to wait until next summer to do it, because obviously the summer months are the most productive months for our solar panels. So we want to be ready to be able to recoup all those costs that we have put into the process of the solar pricing. And the other part of it is that we do have to abide by the American Buy American products. And the location that we were buying our solar products were actually out of Georgia. That factory had to switch and produce things for another item, which is from out of the country, which means that that's another reason that it's delayed for the solar panels. But we will start work this fall and work through that, and then solar panels will go on this spring.
Okay, thanks. All right, then I would move approval of a resolution awarding the sale of $1,080,000 general obligation school facility improvement bonds, Series 2021B, and rescinding the resolution establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed $1,205,000 general obligation school facility improvement bond, Series 2021B, adopted on April 14, 2021.
I think Elizabeth second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Andrew, aye. Susan Manning,
Aye.
Elizabeth.
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Susan Fox,
Aye.
ayes have it, motion carries.
All right.
Next is policy revisions, deletions, second reading. Can I have a motion to approve?
I move approval of revised policy 9250 as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Andrew, aye. Susan Manning,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Susan Fox,
Aye.
ayes have it, motion carries. Next is the 2022 non-represented support staff compensation plans. Susan Fox.
I move approval of the 2021-2022 non-represented support staff compensation plan as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Andrew, aye. Susan Manning,
Aye.
Elizabeth.
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Susan Fox,
Aye.
ayes have it, motion carries. Next is the 2021-2022 coordinators, supervisors, dean of students, and administrators compensation. Susan,
Move approval of the 2021-2022 coordinators, supervisors, dean of students, and administrators compensation plan as presented.
Second.
any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Andrew, aye. Susan Manning,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Susan Fox,
Aye.
ayes have it, motion carries. Next is the 2021-2022 coordinators and dean of students contracts.
I move approval of the 2021-2022 coordinator and dean of student contracts as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, Andrew, aye. Susan Manning,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Susan Fox,
Aye.
ayes have it, motion carries. Next is the 2021-2023 administrative contracts. Susan Fox.
I'll move approval of the 2021, 2023 administrator contracts as presented.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Andrew, I, Susan Manning,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Susan Fox.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion carries. Moving to discussion items. Policy revisions, deletions, first reading.
Okay, as Susan mentioned in her report, the policy committee had discussion on the policy 2018 equity in education. We put this, we had to notice the meeting last week. We put it on just in case we were ready to come forth with a recommendation. As Susan mentioned, they're doing some additional reviews. So the draft is there for your review, but the committee will be continuing their work and at an upcoming meeting, bringing a first draft or for a first reading.
Thank you, Dan. Susan Fox.
I was just gonna say, so given that, if anybody does have any thoughts about it when they look at it, it'd be good to, helpful to forward it to Susan Manning
Mhm.
as chair.
In writing, if you would.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All righty.
Well, and
Even if it's just questions, I thought, right,
yeah,
that'd be helpful.
yeah. And it's also very helpful to look at the samples. And those aren't up there, right? If you go to the policy committee meeting on the 22nd, there are some good samples in there, and there's also the WSB kind of policy statement as well. And it's really good to see that. The other thing I would say about this is that this was really drafted by a very strong administrative staff who are very involved and took it back to their buildings and their staff. And generally, we ask for clarification on a few of the words, but the work that's been done is really very good, very good. And when you look at even national samples, this reads extremely well. And I feel that our committee was very supportive of this document. Elizabeth, do you have or Susan, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
No, I think that sounds good. Just a quick clarification that the meeting that we discussed this on was the 24th. It was yesterday, not the 22nd. So look for that meeting.
The other thing that Elizabeth had asked for, which was very thoughtful, was adding a few definitional sections so that it was very clear when you used certain words, what you meant when you use those words, which I think is going to be a helpful addition to the work that the administrative staff has done.
All right, thank you, everybody. The 2021 annual meeting agenda. Put that up there. So.
Yeah, as you may recall, the annual meeting is actually not a board meeting, it's a meeting of the electors. And however, so we always share the draft of the agenda with the board here prior to the notice going out. Is very typical. There's no additional items on this year other than the ones that are statutorily required that we do every year for the annual meeting. As a reminder that we are holding the annual meeting in person. It's a 6 o'clock meeting on Monday, the 13th. One of the reasons is it's really important to be in person. We do have to have a vote of the electors, and we will have the third floor set up with plenty of distancing, with chairs and so on for whomever might choose to attend. It will also be live streamed, as all of our meetings are as well for those that would like to watch virtually.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, next is school renovations construction update.
Okay, we have great news. Occupancy was received today for our 3 buildings that are under the renovations. And so the importance of that is that means that staff and others can get in the buildings to get their classrooms ready. I had an opportunity to stop by all 3 of those buildings over the last 2 days, and great to see teachers in and excited, and I know they're eager to get into their classroom. So we'll definitely make sure we have an opportunity for our board members to visit the school, other schools, to see the renovations here very soon as well. And we're ready. We're ready for teachers and students.
Great. Susan Fox?
And my only question there is, I know we had the dedication, but are we planning any open house at some point for Granite Ridge? And then even for Winnequa, there was a substantial amount of work done there as well. More so than, well, I guess even Cottage Grove School has some.
Yeah.
Work.
Yes, absolutely. So are there plans in place right now? No, we're working on that. And the challenge, of course, is, how many people can we have at a time and do that safely? But without question, we want the public to be available. Certainly, continue to share pictures, videos is one thing that we can do until we have those opportunities. But hopefully very soon, we'll have that chance to get people in the buildings.
Okay.
Susan Manning?
That was exactly my question, because I've had numerous people stop me and ask me when they can come see that. The other thing I would urge each and every one of you to do, if you have the opportunity, our tour didn't include a tour of the outside of the playground. And we were taking care of 4 grandchildren under the age of 12 in Cottage Grove mostly. And that playground is absolutely beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. And the fun part of it was, every time we went over there, there was a pretty good sized neighborhood crowd at the playground. So that's where we got a significant number of people saying, when do we get to see inside? And they're actually going up and looking in the windows. But I encourage you to also see the playground area. We went back 4 times in 2 days. It's really nice. And I have to commend everyone who was involved on the work that they did. It's great.
Thank you. All right. Moving to meeting dates. Regular board meeting, September 8th, and the annual meeting. Got the policy committee meeting on the 16th of September, and then the next regular board meeting in September is the 21st. Is there anything else that we need to do? Anything else we need to know? All right. Elizabeth? Or Eric, I don't care. You guys got to, you two got to get involved.
You do it, Eric.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor, Andrew, aye. Susan Manning?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Susan Fox?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn has been approved. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
you.
you.
Is this a
Yes.
world's record?